Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reacting to the Tupac Shakur 1988 high school interview. Now, I know you've been waiting for the Ed Gordon interview, and I'm sorry that it hasn't arrived yet. As I told a few of you already, I tried recording on some software and it absolutely failed me. And so I'm just going back to OBS, which is what I use for my videos. And if there's any issues in terms of like copyright issues or something, then I'll put this on Patreon. But hopefully that won't be an issue. Okay. Now let me tell you the guy that I'm going by. Anthony White left a comment on the channel and he said, after you get done with the Machiavelli album next, the very first interview you should start with is Tupac's high school interview from 1988. That's one I have, right? It's best to start in order. The second interview would be the MTV interview, the band version 1992, and third MTV interview 1994. Fourth interview is with Ed Gordon 1994, and fifth one is the Vibe interview 1995. So we're gonna go in that order, okay? So we're starting with this one first. And yeah, we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's go.
Are you rolling, Eddie?
Okay.
Alright, that's okay. You can do this.
By the way, I have to say, I think I've seen bits and pieces of this interview floating around on the internet, but I've never sat down and watched the full thing. So I'm sure there are some things in here that will probably be familiar. Let's go.
That's right.
He's a little chilly, so it's good for him.
Oh.
No captions.
Okay. Anytime.
Okay, my name is Tupac Shakur, and I attend Tampere High School, and I'm 17 years old.
Do you like being 17?
And it's like 17 is such a weird age. It's such a in the middle age. You're not 18 yet, and you're older than 16. But I like it. It's nice. It's like a learning stage for me.
What a good answer. If somebody asked me that question, I doubt I'd be able, like, if somebody had asked me that question on 17, I don't know if my answer would have, like, compared. Like, that was a really smart answer and a good one. It makes perfect sense.
Well, 18 will bring lots of responsibilities that I don't want, but it'll bring respect that I feel like that's the only way I can get it. I try to be as mature as I can be and demand it wherever I can get it. But 18 is like you're an adult. You like today when I had to sign the release form, I felt so bad because I couldn't sign it myself. I had to go and get my mother's and all that. But 18 is it's just society's way of saying that you're ready. But 17, like I think I'm ready now, as ready as I'm gonna be in this world. But so it's okay. I guess 17 is all right.
God, he's so mature. Like, why is it going full screen? He's so mature and confident and charismatic, and his voice was already there. Like, he sounds like Tupac. He sounds like himself.
Given more responsibilities, or they have much more value than adults place on you because of your age?
Well, the way that my mother brought me up is no lies, no, total truth. Everything is real in society. Everything. If something's going on wrong in the house, I know everything. So it was like I was given the responsibility before I wanted it. And so now I can't really differentiate what great responsibility is because I've had it for so long. So she taught me how to be ready for it. And so that's good. And I think it's good because I know that, and it's taught me that when you get out there, the responsibility is staggering. And I'm ready. I'm going to be a little more ready than someone who's grown up in Disney World,
Of course.
And so, I think I'm growing up good as in all sense of the word. I think I'm growing up and learning about responsibilities and
It's
everything.
probably grew up a little too fast is what he's saying, but like he can see the benefits of it. Very mature.
In all sense of the word, I think I'm growing up and learning about responsibilities and everything.
What do you think's the hardest thing about being a kid or being your age?
The hardest thing about being my age is proving to society that I understand what's going on. Like not everybody, but frequently, teenagers are stereotyped in being loud music loving, girl chasing, car wanting, not caring about the world.
He's such a
cokeheads,
cutie pie.
drinking coke and smoking and being drug addicts and I mean, in some ways we are. I mean, I chase girls and want the car and but
Of course.
I like to think of myself as really being socially aware and not just socially aware as being trendy, you know, being peace, not that. I really think that that teenagers, they got a lot of responsibilities and a lot of burdens because in fact, we're not, I mean, we're given a horrible world. We're given the gift that we're getting when we got to take over is horrible. They left us, they're leaving this world in bad shape for us to fix up. So I think that we deserve a lot of respect because, you know, in the 60s, they changed a lot and those teenagers were given respect because they changed a lot and they did a lot. We're given no respect and we have to do a lot. I mean, the world ain't no secret, but the world is in bad shape. So we have to do a lot. We have to do a lot of good things. So I think we deserve a little bit more respect.
And why do you think it is that
Wow.
don't give you the respect?
Fear. They're scared.
Uh-huh.
They're scared of watching us grow up.
It's funny.
They're
He's
scared
so
that
quick.
when we get the
He's
power,
so quick with it. Like quick witted, quick witted. You know what I'm saying? Like he's ready. Wow.
of watching us grow up.
I wonder how much notice he had before this and also like if they told him what they'd be talking about because he is ready. He is ready.
They're scared.
And even if I had noticed, like if I was 17 and I had noticed and I was and I was being asked these questions, I don't know if I'd have been able to answer questions like this. Like I'm really impressed.
The power or responsibilities that we won't be able to handle it. And they're scared that well, I don't think in this generation, I don't think that a lot of adults put enough into their children. I'm glad my mother did, but I don't think that a lot of children are growing up lost in the sauce. And I think that they're realizing it now that I didn't teach him this, I didn't teach him that. Where did he learn it?
Yeah, bunch of crows.
Unsafe sex and drugs. You could tell if you look at the statistics,
Facts.
they're staggering again, you know. And so I think they're scared because they're realizing that they goofed, they really messed up, and also they fear teenagers are angry. At least this generation seems a little angrier to me, a little more rebellious and uninvolved. So they're scared because they're realizing that what's gonna happen when we get all these people in power. But also just because it's human nature to be scared to watch a child grow up, and you don't want to give them that yet.
What a comprehensive answer. So they're afraid of what they've created, for one, and they're afraid of losing their kids. That's a pretty good answer.
Nature to be scared to watch a child grow up, and you don't want to give them that yet.
The major differences between being a kid or being
I was funny being a kid, like my little cousin Hiroji. He's 3, and everything to him is happy. The only thing that makes him unhappy is when things are over, when you turn something off, and when the television goes off, when it's time to go to bed, or when he has to come in the house. Everything is over.
Very
It's
observant.
bad, And when you're an adult, when something is over, that's like it's the opposite. When it's over is good. You just, oh, I'm off work. It's over. God, she's out of the house. My children in college. It's over. Oh my God. And so it's that difference. And children see things so great. If the world can, what happens is that adults complicate things and children don't. As simple as this. The sky is blue. And adults want to go, the sky is blue. Why is it blue? Because birds and bees and everything wasn't meant to be analyzed. And that's where a lot of problems came in, I think. And that's where I think kids are happier. Kids are definitely happier and more relaxed than adults.
You think if parents or adults had happier childhoods, they would be better off when they
I mean, and again, he speaks about analyzing things, and I won't analyze his answer too much because he's 17 and like the way he's answering these questions is just like so incredibly impressive for a 17-year-old. The fact that he's able to kind of just observe all that's happening around him and be able to like deconstruct that and share that in an answer to an interviewer is just really impressive. So I'm not gonna dive in and deconstruct his answer because I don't think that's necessary. But just a really good answers.
People say if you have a trouble day with they would be better off when they grow up. I mean, like a lot of people say if you have a troubled childhood, you lack self-esteem when you grow up.
No, actually, I think it's well, okay. From my mother's point. Well, if you grew up happy, too happy, like in fairy tale land, not fairy tale. I mean, if you grew up where every Christmas you got a present and every birthday you got a present, and every holiday was a holiday, and everything was peachy. Your parents took care of everything, and you just grew up. I don't think that prepares you for the world.
This is true.
My mother had a really bad childhood, and my father had a bad childhood, and I had a bad childhood. But I love my childhood. Even though it was bad, I love it. I feel like it's taught me so much. And I feel like nothing can phase me. Nothing in this world, nothing can surprise me. It might set me back, but only momentarily, only to spring back. And I think it's helped me to learn. It really did help me to learn. And since my mother had a bad childhood, she knows the importance of being honest and the importance of facing each situation as it comes and not dealing in fairy tale land, being realistic about the problem and analyzing it and solving it. See what you can do to solve it. So if you have a happy childhood, you tend to want your child to have a happy childhood. So you tend to want to keep the bad things out. And I don't think that's good because you don't prepare them for the world.
You have to be realistic.
Right, you definitely have to be realistic. You should tell it. But don't get the wrong idea. I feel like I'm being gloomy. I don't mean just be like, damn it, it's bad out there. But I mean, when the good things come, they are going to come. And everybody knows that. Good things are going to come, and you're going to see them for yourself. You're going to see if they're good. But it's
Range. He
hard
has
to see the
range.
bad things, and everybody wants to shield the bad things. And that's where it gets complicated and it gets real rotten. That's when everybody gets surprised and, oh my God, I'm committing suicide. That's too much, overwhelming. If you know about it, it won't be so overwhelming.
Such a promising kid. Like there's so much promise here and so much like confidence and self-awareness or just general awareness. I see a lot of him, like I saw in the Ed Gordon interview. I remember that he asked him something or something like, do you like that people fear you or something? And he was like, that's right. That's right. And he did that here. And that's just so interesting to see that those parts of his personality remained intact and probably even kind of, matured as he did, but they remained intact. And that's interesting to see.
Won't be so overwhelming. So that's what I think about that. Is that, like if you are lost in the wilderness and you have a guide, then it's not like being lost. It's like learning new things as you go through. So when you finally get through, you forgot where you were going to. You just want to talk about the path that you just went. And that's how I feel. Like life, my childhood was just totally lost at first because, okay, I gotta go to the beginning. My mother was a Black Panther, and she was really involved in the movement. Just Black people bettering themselves and things like that. My father was a hustler, street hustler. I think he, sold drugs and everything. And how did they get together is beyond me. But saw her as a woman doing something, and like, But so my mother and father both had bad childhoods, and I never knew who my father was. I met him, but he died, and that was horrible. But got over that. My mother it's like she actually did take me through life. When I discovered some, first I rebelled against her because she was in a movement and we never spent time together because she was always speaking and going to colleges and everything. And then after that was over, it was more time spent with me, and we were both just like, you're my mother, and she was like, you're my son, and what do we do? So then she was really close with me and really strict almost. But now I can see how it paid off because, like, I can talk to my mother about drugs. I could talk to my mother about sex. anything. I can ask her anything and bring it up, and she'll go, okay, well, this is, and I can say, Ma, I'm really curious about this drug. And she'll go, I did it, and this is what happened, and I don't think you should.
I mean, do you think other kids?
No, I don't think so. Because I speak to my friends, I speak to them, and they're baffled. They're like, like my friends can call my mother by her first name. That's a small thing, but it's a big thing to them because they could just come in the house and go, "How you doing, Faye?" And this is what happened in school. Because she speaks to them. She gives teenagers the respect they deserve unless they show that they're not worthy of that respect, and they like that. They really do like that, and they react well. That's why I have that philosophy about respect, because my mother can totally. I mean, she's totally brilliant, totally understanding and caring, and she's human. I mean, she has mistakes, and we have our little tists, but I understand them so much. I mean, she'll be wrong a lot, and we can talk about it. So, but a lot of kids can't talk to their parents about drugs because their parents don't trust them to make the decision, so they make the decision for them. And a lot of kids can't talk to their parents about sex because they don't trust them. They think, oh, he's talking about sex, he's out there doing it. So they don't trust them in that, you know? So plus their parents are just like beat red as soon as you bring up the word fornication. But my mother's totally just I was scared at first, but I just brought it up one day and we spent hours talking about drugs, sex, and society and 60s and 70s and 30s and everything. And we just get along really good.
I feel like what really like shines through for me here and really stands out is just like there's just like I don't know. You know, obviously he had a rough upbringing and he talks about that. Obviously, it was difficult for him, his parents, all of these different things. You know, their background, his father's background, and what he says happened to his father. My battery's trying to dip out on me. But yeah. But it's so obvious to me that he has like one of my uncles said to me one time that you have all the ingredients to be a failure. And I was thinking to myself, well, those same ingredients could help me to be a success. So I don't know what you're talking about, you know? And I feel like I can see him just trying his best and like not even trying, like he succeeded with just having a positive outlook on his life, on his background. And like when I see him, I think he has all the tools he needed to excel in this life and to succeed and to not have gotten mixed up with the people he got mixed up with and have the kind of outcome that he had. And it's just like it's really so upsetting for me because I'm here now in this timeline, in this time, you know, of life. Like I'm not there, so I can't save him. And like all we have is this recording of this person's voice and like his being, and it's like I'm trapped between screens and there's nothing I can do. And like it's just like the more I watch it, the more heartbroken I get because he had everything he needed. He had everything he needed. Everything. He could have still been a rapper. He could have still been an actor. He could have still done all the things he wanted to do. It's just like the kind of people that he ended up getting around, and you know, it just really sucks. Of course, I'm sure there are parts of it that I'm missing, you know, choices he made, all these different things. I don't know. But as we go along and we keep on learning, we'll learn more. But there's just so many good things here, and it's just heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah, a really good friend. But she's still my mother. I mean, I still like last night I came home at 2:30 and she went, "You can't come home that late anymore." And I was like, "It's the weekend." We had an argument about that. But also it's things that, you know, like I mean, we talk about things, you know, do you think you should be punished? And I explain it to her and I really get to talk to her. So she's my guide through life. So I'm really enjoying myself, but it's just that it's everybody doesn't think like us. So society, I mean, poverty it's no joke. Being poor and having this philosophy is worse because, you know, if money was nothing, if there was no money and everything depended on your moral standards and the way that you behaved and the way that you treated people, we'd be millionaires. We'd be rich. But since it's not like that, then we're stone broke,
Mhm.
poor because our ideals always get in the way. Since we're not yup people, and we're always, wait a minute, let me think about that. Then people
Amen.
tend to go, nope, I guess I don't want you for the job, and I guess you just won't, And
Mm.
so that's the only thing that I'm bitter about. Is
Mm.
growing up poor because I missed out on a lot of things. Still growing up poor, I miss out on a lot of things, and I can't always have what I want or even things that I think I need. So I missed a lot of things like that. But I know rich people or people just well off who are lost or lost. So I feel like my mother made a lot of decisions in her life, and that's what we always say. She could have chose to go to college and got a degree in something, and right now been well off, but she chose to analyze society and fight and do things better. So this is the payoff. And she's always tells me that the payoff to her is that me and my sister grew up good and we have good minds and everything, and we're ready for society. But we just didn't have money and we didn't have the things like that. So that's the only bad thing I think is poverty.
It's funny because, he talks about how he was ready for society and things like that. But I think like there is like an obvious kind of like purity within him here, an obvious kind of like willingness and earnestness within him that is not ready for society. That is not ready for the people that are going to turn against him. That is not ready for that kind of stuff. And, I think it's something that he spoke about, or I heard somebody say, like he said, like he never would have expected another person of color, like a black person, would have shot him or something like that. And I feel like those are the things that like we do get blindsided by because we expect that the people who we come from will love us and will take care of us and will see that we're just human beings like them. But that doesn't always happen. And it's just sad. Like I mean, I'm of course I'm like enjoying the interview. I'm enjoying seeing him like this, seeing his little young face and seeing how handsome he was, and his little poof of hair. Like all of that is just really fun to experience. But like I see like this precious thing like right there that isn't as protected as he thinks. And of course, hindsight is 2020. So what are you gonna do about that? But on the topic of being poor and things to experience and all these different things, I just want to say I grew up dirt poor myself, you know terribly terribly poor. And I don't really feel like I missed out on anything, and I wish that's something I could have said too. Like you end up being better for it, I think, as long as you're not starving. That's a completely different conversation. And as long as you're not sleeping outside, that's a different kind of poverty. But you know I don't know. I think all of those things shaped this beautiful person that we ended up receiving. And so it's not as terrible, is all I have to say. I don't know. But yeah, let's keep on going.
If I hated anything, it'd be that.
What do you think is one of the most important things that your mother taught you?
My mother taught me three things: respect, knowledge, search for knowledge. It's an eternal journey. That's like my haircut, the line. 360 degrees, find knowledge, always. And she taught me to not be quiet. To, if there's something in my mind, speak it. That's what God, that was the breath. She always taught, but also to listen. And she told me this little joke that God gave you 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth to speak. 2 ears and 1 mouth, common sense. 1 mouth, you should speak, but you should also listen. And that's where the knowledge comes from, listening. And once you get the knowledge, then you can speak. And it helps you. So she taught me respect, knowledge, and understanding, mostly. Just listen a lot.
Do you think more parents should listen to their kids more?
Definitely. Oh, definitely. Definitely. But not being a yup parent. Like
Yep, yep.
people,
Yep,
oh,
yep.
yes, dear, I understand. Yes, you can go to the party. That doesn't help. Those produce even worse kids because it produces ambitious but unready children, and those where our martyrs come from. So I think they should listen but analyze what they're saying Just don't push them through the path, and don't hold them from going to the path, but
Mm.
help them through the path.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think should happen.
Hmm.
You're most like them.
I'm most like my mom because I'm arrogant, totally arrogant. I
Mm-hmm.
agree. I have to say it. Like at work, I can't hold a job. I just quit my job today actually because I wanted to come and do this, and they wouldn't let me. And I felt like it was important, and it was more important than serving pizza. And we had enough people, so I felt like since I'm an actor, they should understand. They should have let me do it, but they didn't. And then I had a cold, so they were making me work in a freezer. And I'm really not one to be disrespected, and I felt like that was disrespectful because I asked to go, you know. So I quit, and he told me I couldn't quit, and that even made me hyper. I'm arrogant, so when he told me I couldn't quit, and we had all these customers, I chose that time to jump on a soapbox, grab my leather jacket, light a cigarette in front of him, smoke, and leave. In the middle of a rush. So that was natural. That's arrogance at the top. That's the most like my mother, and she likes it. She'll see it in me and know it. And we clash a lot because I'm arrogant, she's arrogant, and you should see us when we get in our little attitude moods. It's like husband and wife, or it's brother and sister, but it's father, mother, and it's really father, mother, and son. She's my father and mother. So yeah, we getting out tips and everything. But
He was still that guy.
That's why my pizza so long.
it was me, I admit it. I'm most like unlike my mother because crazy question. Um, well, since my mother went through the '60s and everything, she's more of a let me think about this first, then do it because I know about how that happens. And I'm more like of if you get me hyped, I'm a dangerous weapon. If I'm hyper, I mean, even for not like violent, like, but if I'm hyper to run basketball and I have to go to work, I'll be there late. If I'm hyper to do something, I can't concentrate. And my mother can really concentrate. And like in school, as much as I talk about needing education and everything, I goof in school every year. It's just I can't help it. I like popularity and I like being around people. And I just like, talking and everything. And my mother's more of a get this done and then do that. So that's what we're not alike, and I trust people more and I'm more open. And since she's been through those things, she's more weary of trusting people, but she does trust people. But I'm just totally just like, oh, okay, you're my friend now. But we're more alike than we are.
I see it.
That's really weird.
When you say you goof around a lot of school, do you feel you're learning enough, or
I definitely see that welcoming, open kind of person in him. It's there. He's just inviting. His whole energy, his whole aura is just so inviting, and that's the thing that I guess bothers me is just how open he is, because I can see that it's not necessarily the best thing. When you're too open, like, people can crush you, man. They will hurt you. Oh boy. All right, let's continue.
Well, oh, I hope I don't get in trouble, but school is, I think that we got so caught up in school being a tradition that we stopped using it as a learning tool, which it should be. Like up to this day,
It's a routine.
I mean, school should be. I think there should be a different curriculum in each and every like neighborhood, because I'm going to Tamalpais High, and I'm learning about the basics, but they're not basic for me, And it's like they're not to get us ready for today's world. They're not. That's not helping. It's just what they took, so it's what we're gonna take. And that's why the streets have taught me. And but school is really important, reading, writing, arithmetic. But I think after you learn reading,
No,
writing, and
no,
arithmetic,
no. That is the correct word. Astute observation. That is a wonderful observation. I had never thought of that. Like before, I remember I used to say like, they really should be teaching us things like entrepreneurship and finance, so that we know how to invest and take care of our families and things like that, versus just pushing us to do things like economics and whatever. And while economics is definitely relevant and is valid, it's like what's the point of having an economics degree and then you don't know how to invest your salary or none of these different things or how taxes work. But like his take of like, let us like evaluate the curriculum based on the context of the student, the context of the school and the surrounding neighborhoods and what these children need to know is a pretty interesting take. Like I think something like that could work.
That's it. But what they tend to do is teach you reading, writing, and arithmetic, then teach you reading and writing and arithmetic again, then again, then again, just making it harder and harder, just so, to keep you busy. And that's where I think they messed up. There should be a class on drugs. There should be a class on sex education, a real sex education class, not just pictures and diaphragms and unlogical terms and things like that. There should be a drug class. There should be sex education. There should be a class on scams. There should be a class on religious cults. There should be a class on police brutality. There should be a class
Well,
on
damn.
apartheid. There should be a class on racism in America. There should be a class on why people are hungry, but they're not. Their classes on gym, physical education. Let's learn volleyball because one day we're gonna, it's their classes like algebra, where I've yet to go to a store and said, can I have X, Y plus 2 and give me my Y change back? Thank you. I think you could let me out. I've lived alone by myself, and the things that helped me were the things that I learned from my mother and from the streets. And reading has helped me. I mean, school has taught me reading, which is I love reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's it. Like foreign languages. I think they're important, but I don't think it should be required because actually they should be teaching you English and then teaching you how to understand double talk, politicians double talk, not teaching you how to understand French and Spanish and German. When am I going to Germany? I can't afford to pay my rent in America. How am I going to Germany? This is
He's funny.
this is what I mean by the basics are not the basics for me. And I think that it should be like college. You can go and take the classes that you want. And I think that like elementary school should be that way, where they give you the classes you should take for the basics, and then junior high school and high school should be the classes that you need in order to choose your path.
That's really smart.
Definitely not.
She has the best answers. Wow. Such a smart kid.
Yeah. It's just a place you go during the day to keep you busy while they're at work.
I agree.
Are you ready to work now? Are you ready to get like a regular job, or do you?
Yeah, I've actually been working already. Like I've been going to school during the day, then I work 8 hours at the pizza place, then go home. And isn't it like 40-hour week? That's what adults work, right? And that's what I'm working, 40 hours a week. I'm still not getting the respect that adults get, but I'm not, I don't want to keep sounding like I'm worried about respect and fame and all of that. I'm just saying that, I mean, ancient civilizations have survived without um going to schools like this. I mean, they've learned from their parents. We're not being taught to deal with the world as it is. We're being taught to deal with this fairyland, which we're not even living in anymore. It's sad because I'm telling you, and it should not be me telling you. It should be common knowledge. Aren't they wondering why death rates are going up and suicide is going up and drug abuse? Aren't they wondering? Don't they understand that more people are? I mean, more kids are being handed crack than they're being handed diplomas. I mean, it shouldn't. I mean, like, okay, in school we're learning to analyze, and then, well, I learned it. Now they should relearn it. I think adults should go through school again. I think that rich people should live like poor people, and poor people should live like rich people, and it should change every week. And we'll have the best rounded people. We'll be able to deal with people. I mean,
Yeah, that I've heard before from him.
Everywhere. Look at culture, civilizations. Look how we grew. And I think we need to learn from our mistakes and stop just going through emotions, which we're doing now. It's like we're waiting for some big button to be pushed or something like that.
Can you do anything about that, Tupac? What can you do when you grow up, right?
Okay.
That you can make a difference.
Well, as it is, and it's honestly, I feel this way. But society is like I mean, it's like You know those little things they have for the mice where they go through around a circle and there's little blocks for it and everything? Well, society is like that. They'll let you
Hmm.
go as far as you want. But as soon as you start asking too many questions and you're ready to change, boom, their block will come. And for me, and I hope this doesn't start anything, but for me, since living in a slumish area and I'm black, mines will come through being a statistic. You know, I'll get caught up in all of this, and one day I'll be with my friends, and they'll go, "Let's go out party. We don't have a car. Let's steal a car. Forget it. You know, let's just borrow a car." We'll steal a car, and I'll go to jail for 16 years and come out and be bitter, knowing all of this, saying all of this, but be bitter. You know, and it should be. I mean, like the past elections, watching Jesse Jackson run and watching Dukakis run. Those two people, Jesse Jackson and Dukakis, two people who I thought were gonna. There it is. I said, all right, finally we're gonna get a better America. But what happened? Bush won. I couldn't believe it because every time I ask people, who would you have voted for? And everybody goes, Dukakis. But how did Bush win? I keep wondering. And then this makes me
Mm.
rebel more against society because it's supposed to represent the people. I don't want Bush in government. I spent 8 years of my 17 years on this earth under Republicans, under Ronald Reagan, under an ex-actor who lies to the people, who steals money, and who's done nothing at all for me. And I don't think Bush is a bad person or a bad president, because for the upper class, he's a perfect president. And that's how society is built. The upper class run it while we talk about it. I mean, the middle class and lower class, we talk about it. And for the working class, we're just lost. We're going through the motions. We're the worker bees, and they get to live like royalty.
You think when you're talking about classes, do you think there are kids classes set up?
Yeah, I think so. But they're even in even with children, there are classes. Like even at TAM, there's the lower Marin City class. There's the low white class, the lower white class. There's the middle.
I'm just so surprised by his range, his understanding, his reasoning ability, his reference points. He's a really smart kid. He's a really smart kid, man. And I know I'm using present tense. It's hard for me to use words like was with people that, like, to me, people like this, like, I can't accept them not being here. So I will always kind of go back and forth between past and present tense because it's what feels right, you know? But really smart kid. Like, wow. Wow.
Class, white class, and the middle class, black class, and there's the middle class. I mean, there's the upper class white and upper class black, and that's a shame that has to be cut in so many pieces, because it all boils down to this one piece of money that how can this is a big question and no one's there to answer it, and this is staggering. How can Reagan live in a White House which has a lot of rooms and there be homelessness, and he's talking about helping homelessness? This is what I mean about practicality. All right, if there's someone homeless in Washington, D.C., if there's homelessness and he has the White House, which has 1,000 rooms, why can't he take some of them people off the street and put them in his White House? Because he doesn't want to get dirty. The White House would be a little tainted. And when his rich people from Jamaica and everything comes to see him, they'll be, oh, these people, you know? And that's dumb. He wants to build houses and everything. Let him stay in the White House. All those rooms are not being used. Then he'll have people from the streets to help him make with his ideas. I mean, these people that are homeless have done things. They haven't been homeless forever. They've done things in society. They've done things. They've had jobs before, and they've done things. They've worked hard. There should be an automatic. They get a house somewhere and live comfortably.
You see? And what they will say is, oh, he's just a child. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just a kid. Ha ha ha. He's just 17. You see, that's what happens. You're young and you have these ideas like, Mom, why are people hungry? Why are people not eating food when supermarkets are full? Why are people not like living on the street when there are houses everywhere? But then you get older and they say to you, like, but that defies logic, my child, because you need money to go to the supermarket to buy food and you need money to buy a house and to rent a house. So no, we can't have this society where people get food for free and houses for free. That's how they, like, as you get older, they tell you that these things that you imagine, this world that you dream of, is not possible because of what? Capitalism. Because a few people want to win at the expense of other people. That's just all it is. What a smart kid, man.
You know, and I think that's wrong. I think that's really bad.
You're very interesting stuff, but you're also entertaining.
Yeah,
You're-
that's like you're in the right field, I think.
Yeah. It's very insightful.
He's on the ground,
What? Give me a you like last year.
like a beanbag.
Where?
No, last night I was in Baltimore. Year before that, I was in. I spent 3 years in Baltimore, my high school years, going to the School of Performing Arts. Then before that, I was in New York. That's where I grew up. That was my total growing up part. We moved out of New York because all of because of my mother's choices, you know, and she couldn't keep her job because of her choices, because it was too much. Yeah, no, she was calm now. I mean, it was totally calm, but it was like they figured out who she was and she couldn't keep a job. That should be illegal. So she lost her job, and of course we were like stranded in New York. And yeah, so we're stranded in New York. So we moved to Baltimore, which was total ignorance town to me because okay, it was just like I mean, in Baltimore, it's just ignorant. I don't even. It gets me upset to talk about it. Baltimore has the highest rate of teenage pregnancy, the highest rate of AIDS within the black community, the highest rate of teens killing teens, and the highest rate of teenage suicide, and the highest rate of blacks killing blacks in Baltimore, Maryland. And this is where we chose to live. So as soon as I got there, being the person I am, I said, no, I'm changing this. So I started a Stop the Killing campaign and safe sex campaign and AIDS prevention campaign and everything. And then I came back and I felt like I did a lot of good. I did good things and everything. Came back. The second week I was in California, I got a call and two of my friends were shot dead in the head. Two of the friends that were working with me shot dead in the head. And it's just like, why try? Because this is what happens. But I still try, you know? And I came to California to escape that violence that I escaped New York for. Then I went to Baltimore, escaped Baltimore for, came to California. Come to Marin City,
Jesus.
and there's skinheads violence.
Listen, that's a whole lot that he just said a while ago. Did he get counseling for this? Like, your mom lost her job because of her involvement in, you know, being a Black Panther and all of that. You moved to an area that was very violent and had a lot of dysfunction, but then you took action, created all these different things to try to inspire change, which is like another thing. Like, who would he have been if he decided to, like, if he pursued a different kind of path? Like, what kind of change could he have affected on society, you know? This is another, you know, timeline, another universe, you know, another possible outcome of who he could have been. And then I guess another part of it is like he lost two people that he would have known really well, that he was planning with. Like, that's a lot of trauma. That's a lot. That's a lot that he's going through. Jeez.
True violence, which I deplore. I can't stand racism and its violence. Before came to California, come to Marin City, and there's skinheads violence. There's racial violence, which
What are skinheads?
I can't stand racism in any form, shape, or color. I can't stand it. So what I did was I talked to people and everything, and what happened was Tam is really integrated. So there was a party, and it just happened that it was a white girls' party, and everybody goes. It doesn't matter. And there's racism, but it's not like that. You know, we understand each other, and we're children, and we able to talk to each other about it. So everybody went to this party, and I was working, and I was gonna go to the party right after I got off work. Me and my friends. So we got off work, we're on our way to the party. We're laughing and joking, just going through. And we see our friend Jonas, who's white, and he's telling us there was a fight at the party, and I was like, what happened? He said the skinheads came and called the black people niggas and made them. They said they had to leave, and of course there was fight. I was like, oh my god. So we were sitting there, they went home. We were sitting there talking and everything. And me and my friends just like, this couldn't happen in the 60s, you know, let's figure out what to do. And he just said, I know, we'll start the Black Panthers again. So we're starting the Black Panthers, but we're doing it more to fit our views, you know, less violent and more silent, you know, more knowledge to help. You know, what we really want to do is get the pride back in the Black community because I feel like if you can't respect yourself, then you can't respect your race, then you can't respect another's race, then you can't respect, you know, it just has to do with respect, like my mother taught me. So what we're doing is starting the Black Panthers again in Marin City, just getting first teaching pride and then teaching education, and then we'll see where it goes from there. And also as a defense mechanism for the skinheads, because that's wrong, and I hate to feel helpless. And so skinheads hate black people, and I'm gonna be there. I want to. I have this vision of just us growing and them decreasing, because that's how knowledge works. It's contagious, you know. And so if there was war and peace, peace wins out. So I wanted to be. I just want to form it and let it work. And I know the skinheads are gonna go like this. So, and I want to take, you know, I just want to learn from my mistakes. And I'm talking to a lot of the ex-members of the Panthers from the '60s, and they're helping me because they're less violent. They're, you know, they've learned. So, and they did a lot of good things in the past, and we can do a lot of good things. So, since my mother was an ex-Panther, and talking to Geronimo Pratt and a lot of ex-minister defenses and everything, so we're gonna do a lot of good. I feel like we're gonna do a real.
So much will and
I know, like, as soon
determination.
as I walk out, I'm gonna go, oh God, I should have said that. But just to end the importance of growing up in, I mean, just growing up
Why
in
are you
America.
zooming in there?
I loved my childhood, but I hated growing up poor, and it made me very bitter. You know, it's like, all right, now I got a job. I had to quit now. I had a job, and just to today I got paid, and I have money in my pocket that I worked for, and that the greatest
From the
feeling.
job you
I
just
work,
quit.
I'm just getting a job and I'm working and everything, and that feels good. But I'm still poor. You know, my family is still poor. I'm still living in a poor neighborhood. You know, I still see people poor. I still see things that, like, society should. It's this is supposed to be a melting pot, but no one's learning from the other's mistake, and that's where the tragedy comes. Because if we were all open and everything, we would learn from, like, in Marin City, I've seen already deaths. I mean, this lady slashed a man's throat because he spit on her kids, and I've seen
Yikes.
teenagers fighting last night over girls, and I've seen guys speak to women with this much respect, and I deplore that. My mother is just totally. I grew up. My mother raised me, so I have this much respect for women, and I fight often because of that, and it gives me a lot of friends. I mean, I get a lot of friends because, but I get a lot of friends because I have respect for women, ultra respect for women. But then, like I was liking this girl in Tam, and I'm extra nice, you know, extra gentleman. I'm extra just like, oh, you're beautiful and you deserve the best. And
I've seen
she
this
told me I was too
before.
nice. I couldn't believe it. It wouldn't work because I was too nice. That was the ultimate stab in the back. I went through a week of just going, forget it. I'm just gonna be like them because they seem to get the girls, and they call girls the B word, you know, and they smack and beat, and they're getting girls, and I'm going, peace, and I think you're beautiful, and they're going, well, I like him because he's masculine. I'm masculine. I mean, and with the guys, I'm trying, and like yesterday he was cursing, and I was like, don't curse, and he got mad at me because I told him not to curse. But my plan is that if I keep telling girls not to let them call you these names, and if I keep saying it, it's gonna catch on because the girls won't allow them to be their boyfriend, that they're gonna speak to him like that, and they're gonna want me. So in order to not get them to go with me, they're gonna have to change, and that's how they change. So I'll be the scapegoat, no problem, as long as it changes. So yeah, that's so. I think it's gonna work. I think it'll work out and everything. But I always wanted to make a book out of my life, like a fairy tale. Raised, raised by the Black Panthers and strung out.
How did he roll out of it? He's funny. Well, I guess thank you for watching that with me. God, I have so much to say, but then at the same time, I don't have a lot to say because, I do try to be as careful as I can be when it comes on to the lives of the people we're talking about because I understand that I don't have the full picture. And so I never want to come off like judgmental. Of course, I'm not going to agree with everything he says. I'm going to have my own perspective because I've had my own life. And so my perspectives of things are different, but that doesn't mean that I'm trying to invalidate his experience because I can't possibly do that. I can't speak to him to know why he thinks about something the way that he does. All that I have are these stories and these interviews and the music. So at the end of the day, I don't have the person, and so it's an incomplete picture. But I think, like, just from what I've seen just now, like, it's a beautiful thing to witness him at 17, to see how much of him was there from that very young age. Just a beautiful thing to witness. So incredibly intelligent, so charismatic, so quick-witted, incredible answers. The way he looked at poverty, the way he looks at the world, the way he looks at himself in the world, in terms of the kind of action he can take and the kind of action he can inspire was amazing. It was amazing to witness. I mean, if you gave me a 17-year-old like that, I could take them and just do amazing things. I could make them a mayor or something, a senator or something. He just had so much promise and so much potential, and all it required was nurturing of that. And to think that this, beautiful child came from such a tough background is crazy. It's crazy. That much dysfunction, yet your mother and all the other, your mother instilled so many good values in you, but also you were like sharp enough to kind of like pull these things out of yourself as well through your observations. Amazing. Amazing. So this is our first interview for Tupac. We're going to keep on doing this. We're starting here, and we're going to do an album next week, and then we're going to keep on with the interview. So it's going to be things like single interview, album, something like that. Yeah, something like that. So we're gonna sprinkle the interviews in between. um so yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what I missed, what you'd like for me to talk about or expand on in the next interview we watch or something. What I should do more of or less of, because this is my first time. Well, I did the Ed Gordon interview before, which I'm still editing. But I understand that, this is my first time doing this, so it's not going to be perfect, but I do want to try, and I do want to learn him and I understand him so that when we continue doing his music, we could do a better job with that. So yeah, enjoyed this. And I just want to say on the topic of poverty, I grew up in Jamaica and I lived in like a 1-bedroom house, like literally not a 1-bedroom house with a living room, a kitchen. I literally mean a single room, like a box, a cardboard box, okay? Like a box, a house with 4 sides like this. And we had bedroom, okay, kitchen. That is it in one room. And our bathroom was outside. And there were times that I had to walk to school, and times when I had nothing to eat, and times when, it wasn't so bad where I had to sleep outside. It only happened one time, and that was because I was fighting with my mom. And I know you didn't ask for this, but I just want to add context in the event that you're curious about my perspective on poverty. So in my mind, I grew up poor. There were times when I had to walk all the way to school. I think maybe like 10 miles or something, all the way from home to school and back. So 20 miles for the day. Like that's how that was. And I don't know. I don't even know how long it was. Probably have to check and tell you. But, my perspective on all of that is that a lot of those things made me stronger. And so I try my best not to be bitter about it, because people who are rich, they have their own burdens. And so, I embrace the difficulties in my life. I remember like one of my first conscious thoughts was probably when I was like 10 or 9 years old. I remember I was like running down a hill and then I stopped And I asked myself, like, this thought popped into my mind, and it was like, why this life was the thought I had. Like, why this life? Why wasn't I born like Beyonce or something? And it was like, oh, because if you were born Beyonce and not this person, you wouldn't be able to learn the lessons that you're learning now. You wouldn't be able to have this experience, and this experience is valuable. This lifetime, this life experience is valuable. And so from that point on, I always kind of embraced my life and embraced the difficulties, because this is what a remarkable experience it is, you being you, to have your perspective, to have your experiences, to be fully conscious and aware, and to talk and to go back and forth like this, and to be able to receive the world in this way. This is no small thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a blessing. And I think even though he might have been bitter about it, and probably him being bitter about it is a good thing, because again, this shapes who he ends up becoming. And who he ends up becoming, to me, is just absolutely beautiful. You know, yes, there are things that I wish would have been different, but I don't control time, and I don't control these things. So I just am grateful for what we have received when it comes on to Tupac. So yeah, that was like long-winded. I'm sorry. But I definitely enjoyed the interview. Enjoyed seeing him as this young little kiddo, seeing how smart he was, how bright he was, how much he just radiated with light. Amazing. Well, again, let me know what you thought about it. If you're still with me, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.